I found this great article on carbohydrates and explains how they work in your body. And are carbohydrates good or bad? By Georgia Ede. Ede. So it's either Eddie or Edie. So carbs are sugars and starches. They are very simple molecules made out of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. All plants and animals and people have them for energy. What's the difference between sugars and starches? Sugars are small. Glucose is a single molecule. And there's some technical terms in here. Fruits are high in simple sugar. Starches are big. They are made of lots of simple sugars stuck together. Potato starch and corn starch are good examples. Starches often referred to as complex carbs. Most people are aware that grains, beans, nuts, seeds, and root vegetables are high in starches. However, animals also contain a small amount of starch that most people are less familiar with, called glycogen. So humans store glycogen as an emergency source of carbs. Glycogen is made of lots of glucose molecules linked together in short branches. If your blood sugar drops, or if you're in an emergency and need fast energy from the liver, can be rapidly broken down into glucose and released into the bloodstream. However, the liver can only store somewhere between 250 and 400 calories. So what does your liver do to make blood sugar? It runs out of glycogen between meals. It will turn to the protein in your muscles. The liver can turn muscle protein into glucose. Why we store energy as fat. Starches are very dense. This is why we don't store very much energy as glycogen. It would take up too much room and way too much. We store less than a day's worth of energy in glycogen. The rest we store as fat. Plants store their energy as starch. Okay. That is why animals like us who need to move around store energy as fat. Fat is much lighter and flexible, much more flexible than starches, so it moves with us. Ever tried to bend a potato? Since I have been doing low carb, I noticed that a potato, noodles, pizza crust, it feels like this big blob sitting in my stomach, and I get a stomach ache. So that's all and then I get, the heart palpitations because my blood sugar is rising. So this is kind of explaining all that. There's a very low limit of the amount of glycogen we can store, but the amount of fat we can store is unlimited. Blood sugar regulation. We have a simple sugar in their body, in their blood, called glucogen, which is known as blood sugar. Glucose is used for fast energy. Because glucose is a monosaccharide, it exists as a single molecule. It doesn't have to be broken down. It is already ready to burn. It's very critical that our blood sugar be kept in a very tight range for us to feel well and function. If blood sugar goes too high, we feel foggy and lethargic. Over long periods of time, high blood sugar, such as treated in type 2 diabetes, can cause serious health problems. However, if blood sugar drops too low, we can be in immediate danger of serious consequences. Because blood sugar control is so important, we have a very sophisticated system for regulating it. If you eat a low-carb diet, your blood sugar levels tend to stay fairly even. But if you are eating too many carbs, your blood sugar will rise after you eat. How carbs can make us fat. The simple sugars in a sweet popsicle are rapidly absorbed, and your blood sugar quickly starts to rise. Since the body wants to harness that energy and prevent high blood sugar, your pancreas releases insulin into your bloodstream. Insulin lowers your blood sugar. It literally turns off your body's ability to burn fat, so that excess sugar will be burned instead of fat. If your body has enough energy already and your cells don't need to burn any more sugar, insulin tells the liver to turn the extra sugar into fat. Well, isn't that interesting? That's why a lot of people gain weight when they're on insulin. Okay, we're going to go past this part. I just want to show you, there's a chart of your blood sugar going up and lowering and staying steady. Why do many people get sleepy after they eat and drink carbs? Probably because we've eaten too many carbs. Okay, too technical. How many carbs do we need to eat? Well, this was a shocker. Once you're off of breast milk, you can live a whole lifetime without eating a single molecule of a carbohydrate. There are populations that ingest a high-fat, high-protein diet, such as those in Alaska and other indigenous people. You know, they eat like seal blubber and the fat, and they hardly eat any carbs, so, and they're living just fine. The Western world has started this overload of carbs, and then you're putting people on drugs and insulin to lower it, but still not fixing their diet, which is the main problem. Does the brain require glucose to function? Very much, but not very much. The brain needs between 30 and 130 grams, or up to half a cup per 24 hours. The brain can turn other fuels besides glucose. It can burn fuel or get fuel from fat and lactate. Your liver can make all the glucose your brain needs out of protein. The process is called gluconeogenesis. How might carbs cause disease? There is an idea that most diseases are caused by the so-called Western diet. The diseases include type 2 diabetes, obesity, coronary artery disease, cancer, hypertension, Alzheimer's, vascular disease, osteoporosis, acne, diverticulosis, appendicitis. How many of these do you have? I'm type 2, I'm obese, I've had cancer, I have high blood pressure, and I've also had diverticulosis, which is a disease that's in your colon, where your pockets in the colon fill up with seeds. This is a theory, they think it is. but I noticed that mine has gotten a lot better since I had my colonoscopy. Okay, so it's the modern diet. And high carb items. Okay, this is all medical. Inflammation causes many diseases. So stay off the carbs if you want to get rid of your inflammation. Bottom line, it is completely unnecessary to eat any carbs once you're old enough to eat solid food. Well, what has no carbs? I don't know. I think a lot of meat does if it doesn't have fillers and sugar in it, which is primarily in sausage. And ham is primarily, if you get a ham, a lot of times they put sugar on it to make it taste better. So, well, carbohydrates such as sugar and flour, okay, that's really bad. And even rice, grains. They put us in risk for chronic inflammatory diseases, mood instability, and obesity. Please consider a low-carb diet to regulate your blood sugars, because although insulin does help, it's pushed by the American Diabetes Association, which is saying you can't live without carbs, which is a false statement. And they say this because they work with the pharmaceutical companies. And they get a kickback from them. So I have been on metformin, but I even got myself off of that. My A1C is 5.6, and I am committed to the low carb, medium protein, high good fat way of eating. It's not a diet, it's a way of eating for life. Here, some bad carbs. Orange juice, anything made with flour, cookies, donuts, rice, potatoes. Good alternatives would be riced cauliflower, and for noodles, spiralized zucchini noodles, lots of green leafy vegetables, water, tea. Some drinks are okay. Powerade in the blue bottle is good. Otherwise, we say drink half your body weight in water each day to flush out and your system of any bad antioxidants in your system. So I will have the link for this article because it does include a lot more things in the description. And the article is by Georgia E. D.E. Let's see what that says. I click on her nose. Oh, okay. So the article is from a website called Diagnosis Diet. And this doctor is a Harvard-trained psychiatrist